conversation on the subject matter and more. We've got, as you've seen there, His Excellency Samuel Ortom, Governor of Benue State. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us today on the program.
Thank you very much, Chamberlain. I appreciate. Good morning, viewers.
Okay, well, yeah, you've heard about it. Everybody's been talking about it. The president's approval of the recommendations of the committee to review with dispatch the 368 grazing sites across 25 states, which they've not disclosed those 25 states. You've been consistent in your perspective about some of these issues, but now, given this latest perspective, what do you think is going on?
Thank you very much, Chamberlain. And, I want to say that I'm disappointed with the presidency. One, we expect that we're in a democratic governance, and the presidency would have understood this. Some weeks ago, Mr. President challenged Nigerians that whether he is not ruling this country according to rule of law. And I came out swiftly and said that, Mr. President, if some people are deceiving you, let me tell you the fact on ground. You are not ruling this country according to the rule of law in all aspects. Some aspects, yes, but in other aspects, you're not doing it. And here we are. Let me tell you, is Mr. President not having an Attorney General to advise him on what the law says about land administration? Everybody knows. I'm not a lawyer, and I must not be a lawyer to know what land administration in Nigeria is, because there is the Land Use Act enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And it amazes me for Mr. President to come out to say that he will revive obsolete grazing reserves and grazing routes. Where are you going to have that? I have had personal conversation with our president, and I've had personal conversation with Mr. President handlers. And I have said, look, when we had grazing routes and grazing reserves, what was the total population of Nigeria? Less than 40 million. This was when it was initiated. But then it was as a result of the laws governing northern Nigeria. Today, as I talk to you, we're over 200 million people. So how do you expect the same thing? The land that used to exist have not increased. It is the same 923,000 square kilometers that we had, but even less because of the ceding of Bakassi to other parts, to the Cameroons. Now, you are talking about in 2021, you're saying that open grazing should supersede every other activities of government, whether it is schools, settlements of our people, roads, construction, and other markets and other activities of human beings. Then I begin to wonder, how are we going to achieve this? So if Mr. President respects the law, the Land Use Act gives the governors the power to preside over land administration on behalf of the people that they govern. And so that is where we are. It's amazing, and I'm surprised to hear this coming from Mr. President, as if he doesn't have an Attorney General, as if he doesn't have lawyers around him to advise him. I think Mr. President was misquoted, or he did it out of error, and he should come out and apologize to Nigerians, because there is no basis whatsoever for this to be going on when we know we have a constitution and the laws that are available. The point is very simple. We have National Economic Council. This is Mr. President's council, inaugurated by him and chaired by the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The 36 governors and some key ministers, including Minister of Federal Capital Territory, are members of this council. We saw this coming, and we sat down and said, how can we resolve this? The entire council came out with a resolution like, let us establish a committee that will go around and assess the situation and come back with recommendations that will help curb these problems that we have in Nigeria today. The committee did this work. They came to Benue State. All the stakeholders were invited and they participated. And it was resolved at the end of the day, after visiting several states, that ranching should be adopted. But where states that have enough land to do open grazing, they should do it. If they want ruga, they should do it. If they want cattle colony, they should do it. If they want open grazing, whatever they want, they should do it. But state by state case should be respected based on their peculiarities. And this is what we came out with. And the policy was adopted by National Economic Council. But Mr. President chose not to implement the resolution of this council. But rather, you hear about ruga, you hear about cattle colony, you hear about open grazing and all that. And if today in Nigeria, the whole country, whether south and north, majority of the states in the north, not all, have accepted that ranching should be adopted because of the challenge we have in security and all that. Because if you like it or not, today banditry, kidnappings, armed robbery, and so on is associated with open grazing. And the entire state, majority of it, which it means democracy, it must not be everybody. We have accepted that ranching should be adopted as a model to help curb insecurity, to help curb the problem of farmers and herders and all that. And if Mr. President, with all the array of very responsible people around him, will not advise him, and he will come out with a statement that he is reviving open grazing and also reviving cattle routes and grazing areas. Then it amazes me. I'm surprised. Are we in a banana republic?
Yeah, but Your Excellency, let me just follow up on something in your opening remarks when you said you had spoken with the president and on a separate occasion, his handlers on a separate occasion. So what was his response when you spoke to him about this?
His response, Mr. President has a set mind. Let me tell you, I have spoken to him personally. And his outing publicly also confirms what he told me. Mr. President believes that for peace to reign in Nigeria, there must be open grazing. There must be provision for cattle routes. There must be provision for grazing areas. And according to him, Mr. President feels that those grazing areas that were enacted, especially in the northern states, and cattle routes, those who have encroached on it, because I raised it with him, and he insisted that those who have encroached on it should be relocated. And that was why I told him that, look, we are no longer in the 50s. We're no longer in the 60s because the population have overgrown the land what we have. Land is not increasing, but today we have over 200 million people compared to the less than 40 million we had in the 1950s. So there is no way we can talk about open grazing. In my state, for instance, there is no land for open grazing, but there is land for ranching. And this is the global best practice. If we accept this problem will be over. And that is why most of my colleagues, in fact, the entire of my colleagues, irrespective of their party affiliation from the South, accepted that, look, the way to go, it is ranching. Most of the states in the North have also accepted that, look, the way to go, it is ranching. And I have recommended to Mr. President and his handlers that, look, just like we subsidize agriculture, and provide subsidy for fertilizer and all that, we can do the same thing for herdsmen because ranching, it can be a little bit expensive compelled to open grazing. So we can actually help these our herders by ensuring that we have subsidy for in terms of water we provide, because their capital takes a lot of water, in terms of fees that we provide. And we can devise several other ways. And I can assure you, I'm a farmer, and I know the challenges that we're talking about. I have a ranch, and I know the problems accompanying this. But at the same time, I know the potentials that we have. This is another way that we can provide millions of opportunities, millions of jobs, and also empower our people who, for now, when they cultivate rice and harvest the straw or soya beans, when they harvest the straw and all that is wasted and it is burnt. This can be turned into feeds. That is what I use in my ranch. And I've been saying that we can do all this. But Mr. President doesn't believe that. So I was not too surprised, but I was disappointed that after the entire country is talking about ranching. You have heard what Raji said, and many other responsible Nigerians who want this to be solved. But because I think Mr. President is pushing me to think that what they say about him, that he has a hidden agenda in this country, it is true, because it is very clear that he wants to Fulanize. But he is not the first person who was Fulani president. Shagari was Fulani president. Yaradua was Fulani president. They were the best president in the history. But President Buhari is the worst president when it comes to issues of security and keeping his promises. Go back and check in 2015. What did he say? Human rights issues. He talked about press freedom. He talked about the economy. He talked about corruption. He talked about security. Tell me one thing that Mr. President have achieved. He has achieved some level of development in other sectors. But truly, these prominent things that is a concern to Nigerians, and we're all worried. Tell me where Mr. President have come out to address this matter. Is this corruption? We are worse in the history of this country. That corruption
it's interesting. Your Excellency, it's interesting that you also score him well in some areas, at least said in some other sectors.
I'm an objective person, and I always say the truth.
Right. So I imagine that when this came out, maybe when the president first mentioned, these grazing routes during that interview a while back, you must have gone back in time as well to look at that law of 64-65, which is applicable at that time to northern Nigeria. And I'd like to find out what you found out, especially for Benue State. I mean, you've been at the receiving end of this, the farmer herders squabbles, for some time now. What did you find out regarding those old grazing reserves? How much of them are in Benue State? Because they say 360 something across 25 states. But how much of those old grazing reserves are in Benue State?
My brother, let me tell you, there is no grazing reserves. They are just trying to impose it on Benue as of today, just to punish us for our stand against the Fulanization agenda of Mr. President. That is it. There has not been any gazetted grazing reserve or grazing route here in Benue State. Why is Mr. President trying to impose his will on Benue people? This will not be accepted. But even if the grazing reserves and grazing routes were applicable to Benue State, today we are no longer in the 60s. We are no longer in the 50s. And there is an act regulating land administration in Nigeria, which gives the governors powers to preside over land. There is no politics. It is not Mr. President. This is a federation. Mr. President has his own responsibility, and we have our own. What we do is to complement each other. If federal government wants land, as I talk to you, and I have been given to them, they will apply. From me, in Benue State here, all the federal government agencies who apply for land, we give them. But it is through the land administration in Benue State. So that law, it is no longer applicable to Benue State. It is no longer applicable to other parts of Nigeria. And I think that Mr. President is wrong. And that is why I say that the lawyers around him, very senior lawyers, very responsible people. Why can't they advise Mr. President that what you're saying is wrong? They should be able to advise him before this thing happens, because it's contradictory. Let me tell you, even Mr. President accepts ranching. Or is it because he comes from Katsina State that he can give 6.5 billion naira for ranching and come back to say that other states must do open grazing? And you also heard the governor of Katsina State who said that open grazing is un-Islamic. Katsina State is predominantly an Islamic state. And he said that open grazing is un-Islamic. So is the Bible. In Exodus, the Bible bans open grazing. That is even before we came here. And so if Mr. President decides to go and give 6.5 million to Katsina and then abandon us, who started this project in 2016, even in the National Livestock Transformation Program, which we were all part of it, 36 governors and all of us did it, and Benue State was a champion of ranching in this wise. Mr. President have not cared to even put Benue on the map of the 7 pilot states that are designated to be do ranching in Nigeria. So you begin to look at this level of injustice, unfairness, and inequity against us. Is it because we have stood against his Fulanization agenda? Mr. President, when he came in 2015, he said that he wants to be president for the entire country. He will be for nobody, but for everybody. But today, Mr. President has shown that he's a president for Fulani people and not for Nigerians. And that is why we're worried, and we have decided to voice out. Whether it is with the last pint of our blood, we are giving up, because at any given point, we must sacrifice. And at my age, I have no reason to be afraid of anybody or say the truth. The Bible says that you shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Whether they like it or not, this is where some of us stand, because we believe that this country belongs to all of us. Look at my cap. Anywhere I have been, I have portrayed the image of this country. Look at Nigerians' colors there and Benue colors. They are here. And so I believe in the unity of this country. And I cannot allow someone to destroy this country for no reason.
All right, Your Excellency, we'll continue this conversation when we return from this break in just a moment. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. We are with His Excellency Samuel Ortom, Governor of Benue State. Well, when you spoke about the funds allocated to Katsina State for ranching, are you asking that the same thing be done to Benue and other states who would like to have it?
Thank you very much. Whatever is good for the goods is good for the gender. That is the point. Mr. President is President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and he cannot restrict himself to Katsina, where he comes from, alone. He must reach out to other states, especially states that are prepared for ranching. That is what he would have done, and that is what I'm saying, that every state in Nigeria that wants to do ranching, like the entire southern states, should also be supported with any support from the federal government. And those in the northern states that want to do it, they should do it. There are other states that have accepted that they want to do open grazing. Mr. President should support them to do open grazing. We are not against that. But you can't select Katsina State, where is your state, and then allow some of us out. With that, you're telling us, are we not part of Nigerians? Are we not part of the Federation of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? So this is the point that we are making. And I feel so sad that Mr. President have chosen to do this. We voted him in 2015 as a man with integrity, as a man who has the capacity to look over the affairs of the entire country, not just his own home state. and not just his Fulani kinsmen. There are no doubt, there are good Fulani men in this country. It will be a logical fallacy for me to say that all Fulani men are bad in this country. There are very responsible, like I've said, Shagari was a Fulani man, Yaradua was a Fulani man, but look at what they did. But Nigeria have never been divided in this manner. All that you hear Mr. President say is that what Jonathan did in 2015 and so on. And that was why the people of this country changed Jonathan and changed the PDP and gave APC mandate to fix Nigeria. But look, you heard what the former CBM governor and also former emir of Kano, you heard what he said. Nigeria in these 6 years have been taken back 20 years back. So we are back. We're not progressing. We have retrograded back 20 years as far as we're concerned in this country. And that is where we are. And it's amazing me for those who keep quiet. I want to let them know that the day of reckoning is coming when nobody will have a place to run. It is our right, it is our duty to call Mr. President to order that where he's taking this country is not correct. And that is why I commended him when he sought from Nigerians that, look, is he now governing the country well? Is he not governing the country according to the rules of the law? Is he not governing the country based on the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? I came out the following day and swiftly told him that, Mr. President, if anybody tells you that you're governing the country according to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, they are telling you lies. They are just sycophants and mediocres trying to make from you. Otherwise, look at the Federal Character Commission. Are we saying that the appointments at the federal level, is it what represents federal character in this country? Is it on nepotism that is going on? Look at everything. And Mr. President seems to keep a blind eye, and people keep quiet. They don't want to say it. But for some of us, we have given ourselves that whatever happens, for speaking the truth, let it come. I'm not just a Christian. I'm a born-again Christian. And we believe in the Bible. We believe that other religions should also live. That is why you have not had any religious crisis here in Benue State. Because whether you want to be a Christian, you want to be an Islamic scholar, or you want to practice Islam, you want to practice paganism, you want to practice native religion, you're free to do that. But others are free to do that. But where people are just trying to coerce us, look at the attacks. As I talk to you, how can I be a happy man when I have over 1.5 million IDPs every day crying, staying in the rain? What have Mr. President done as the president of this country? I feel pained, and I feel so sad that we're really disappointed here in Benue State, and all that they do is to insult me when I say the truth and try to advise Mr. President. They stop me from even visiting Mr. President. That they provide funds for other states to solve their basic problems. I came here in Benue State. I had arrears of over 70 billion, and I told Mr. President, I wrote to him, 28 billion was allocated as bailout funds, which we are still paying. And I tell you, other states had the same thing. But now Mr. President have chosen to give it to other states that are APC with him. No wonder a former chairman said that when you're APC, your sins are forgiven and everything will go right. Is the president a president for APC or for Nigerians? So these are the issues.
Well, and Governor, quite a lot of them you have raised indeed. And, you know, it's quite important, especially when you talk about that religious freedom. And I think that's the way to go clearly, especially because we've seen what this can do. But it's like we've been here before, really, because you talked about we've gone back 20 years. And I recall that time as well, there was a first National Livestock Development Project, the FNLD, now it's NLTP. And at that time, the federal government gave 50% of the funds, states contributed 25%, and the World Bank gave 25%. That was at that time. And now that you're saying, well, you're open to having... Oh, yes. So now that you're saying your state is open to getting some sort of seed fund like Katsina State got as well, in what way would it work? If the federal government is given, how much stakes, how much say will the federal government also have in how the business is run?
there is a National Livestock Transformation Committee here in Benue State. And we leave room. And we're not just talking about ranching cows. We're talking about ranching pigs. And in any case, I'm a chief man from Benue State. If you ask any chief man in Benue State that which is the sweetest meat in the whole world, they will tell you that pig is second, because they have not had the privilege of eating all the meat in the world. So we are also ranching pig here in Benue State and other forms of livestock and even poultry. We're doing it. So in the document of the National Livestock Transformation Plan, we captured all this into it, and we're ready to key into it. But government was supposed to give us some seed funds. So they now gave it to Katsina State and left some of us who were champion of this ranching out. And that is why we're not happy about it. We are ready at our own end. Even now, if you come to Benue State, you can see a number of ranching here and there and all that. Well, all this narrative that they try to insult that Ortom sent Fulanis away. Some Fulani men are my best friends as I talk to you. And nothing like that has been. We have not sent any Fulani man or Hausa or Yoruba or Igbo man away from here. If you want to do livestock business, the only thing we say is that obey the laws of the land. And we'll be home with you. We have no land for open grazing, but we have land for ranching. If you want, apply. And there we are going to give you. Benue State is a peaceful place for all. But as I talk to you every day, because of the body language of Mr. President, Mayati Allah have continued to sponsor terrorists and bandits and killers into Benue State, and they have been killing our people. But recently I spoke to my people, and they told me whether it will require Mr. President, especially when he made that pronouncement about open grazing. People have told me to tell Mr. President, and since they have blocked me from seeing him, this is the only medium that I have. Maybe one person, he may not be listening to this himself, but maybe one person around him may hear it. Since they have blocked me from listening, I want to tell him that if he wants, let him come and kill everybody in Benue State, then he can have the land for his kinsmen, the Fulani people, so that they can take over the land and do whatever they want. Everything. We're a law-abiding government.
About the Miyetti Allah, when you say that, how much of this evidence have you given to the police, and what is being done about it? I recall we had that conversation with your deputy some time back, but it's important to know how far you have gone in escalating this and what is being done about that.
Even right from 2017, when this law was enacted, and Miyetti Allah came out and said that they were not going to obey the law, that they will fight against us, and quickly alerted the presidency. The documents are there. They are stamped by the presidency. I have them. And nothing was done. And I told them that as far as I know these people, when they issue threat, they come. So proactive steps should be taken. I wrote to the security agencies, the Nigerian police, the DSS, and all that. And nothing was done until 2018, 1st of January, when more than 73 people were massacred here in Benue State. And I still went to Mr. President, and all that I heard from him was to tell me that I should go and learn and tell my people to learn to live with their neighbors. Neighbors with AK-47 who come and kill our people, rape our women, rape our children, destroy our ancestral homes, and tell us that we cannot do anything. They are in power. And you want me to keep quiet? For what? I have alerted the presidency, and at intervals, several times, not once, not twice, not thrice, I have alerted the presidency, and nothing was done to curb this. Mayati Allah, as I talk to you, they are in Abuja with Mr. President, going in convoys with enough security men being paid from taxpayers' money in Abuja, being protected as I talk to you. And they talk rubbish. They own up to the killings in Benue State, and I wrote to the security agencies, I wrote to nothing has been done. They even attempted assassination on my life, and their wing called Fulani Nationality Movement, who said they were going to take over this country by force because Nigeria belongs to them. that
Excellency,
they have no other country other than Nigeria.
The police, eventually they said they were investigating that matter. They sent certain people, the army put up posts about that. What is the latest information about that from the investigations being carried out?
The last one I heard was when the Inspector General of Police said that they are investigating it, but it is not what I said. But what I said have not been told to me. What is happening, what was the outcome of the investigation as I talk to you today. And when the people that were sent here to investigate this matter came to brief me before they left for Abuja, they told me that they arrested some Fulani men. And up to today, I have not heard anything. A governor of a state were just 36, an attempted assassination on him. I was with security men, so I couldn't have been lying to say that I ran for 1.5 kilometers. I did run. They would have killed me. My security details, ask them, they are here. They are agents of the federal government. They worked hard. They chased those people out and had to pull me aside, and I ran for 1 hour, for 1.5 kilometers. Those who say that Ortom was lying, a 60-year-old man cannot run. I tell him, I keep myself fit, and I can run for even 3 kilometers, and so on. But up to today, as I talk to you, I have not heard any report from the security agencies as to whether they are prosecuting these people or as to whether the number of people, their identity and all that. But the people that came to me here before they left for Abuja told me it was Fulani men. And they claimed that some natives were also involved. But majority of the people, 12 of them were Fulani men. That was the brief I got here. And since then, I have not had anything outside what the Inspector General of Police said in the villa when he visited, that they are investigating. It is all, how long does it take to investigate? It is said that justice delayed is justice denied.
You've spoken about several people around the president, because if you look at that committee, there are governors there. There are people from Ministry of Justice, Surveyor General's office. But about some of these matters...
Minister of Agric too.
Inclusive, yes. But the Nigeria Governors Forum, very strong pressure group, if not the strongest pressure group in this country if they want to be. They can take a position, they can put up positions on certain things. Do you think they should equally speak up on this? I mean, they may have previously, but given the way the things are now, with this fresh perspective, should they be speaking strongly on the matter?
I tell you the truth, the Nigerian Governors Forum, I have made my position known to the Governors Forum, but I'm just one governor out of 36. And I think for the virtue of the fact that the southern governors, out of the 17 governors in the south, it includes our own chairman. He was there when a resolution was made and reached out to the entire nation by the chairman, the governor of Edo State. They resolved that this is what should happen. But instead of getting commendation, you can imagine the castigation that was meted out to the governor of Edo State and the southern governors. And where our Attorney General, I think that he was misquoted, but he would have denied it. I like giving people opportunity to own things for themselves. He said that what the southern governors did was as good that the northern governors should also meet and say that there shouldn't be sale of spare parts in the north. What relationship have this thing we're discussing with the matter of spare parts? That I don't know. So I think the position is known. And as I said, most of the governors in the north have spoken. But I think that the challenge we have here is that most people are afraid to confront this matter because of the fear of EFCC and so on. So they are afraid to come. But I tell you, what corruption are they fighting? Let me say, I've always said that if they want, they can come here in Benue State and do whatever they want. But posterity will judge them. But I think that this is the problem that is happening. Most people are afraid when you speak the truth as it is, EFCC will come after you. Even the young man who is the AFC chairman, I believe he has the zeal when he came in and all the things that he say he wants to work. But he's being frustrated as I talk to you today, you know. So this is the point. But I have made my position, and the majority of the governors in Nigeria have made their position that the presidency is frustrating this. Otherwise, how do you account for the decision and the policy that the National Economic Council made on solving these problems once and for all, and the presidency reversing it, that quickly they should go there? In Benue State, nobody will come here to talk about that, except you can kill me or you can do whatever you want with me. I don't care. But as long as I have the mandate of my people, I still remain committed to working with them. And I want to say this to the presidency, that they will not remain there forever. Goodluck was not there forever. Obasanjo was not there forever. Abacha was not there forever. One day, when God decides, they will see the result of it. But this kind of deceit and lies and frustration that we're getting from this kind of government should not be accepted. This is not right. And I think that Nigerians, we own this country as a people. They should rise up and speak. This thing, they are protecting themselves. I borrow words from my friend Dilo Malai. If you talk, you die. If you don't talk, you also want to die. So why should we keep quiet? Just speak the truth and let it be known and let it be on record. If I die today, let it be on record that I believe in a cause, I fought for it, and I stand for it, and there I remain. And because I love our country, Nigeria.
Well, Your Excellency, you know, you were accused of arming forest guards against the law, and then they said you wanted to use them as private concern. Different perspectives have come forward, have been put out there about what you're doing with the private guards. Could you tell us what is going on? Are you arming them at the moment?
Thank you very much for asking me to clarify this matter. This is one of the narratives that the presidency will set out to blackmail me. Ask anybody in Benue State, since my assumption of office in 2015, whether I have a single talk less of arming private guards. That has never happened. Even Mr. President, in one of our meetings, he accused me for arming 6,000 militia in 2016. Where are the militia? Have any security man apprehended any of my militia? Just like they did to Eastern Security Network and did to Igboho. And that is what we keep saying. If you did that to Igboho and did that to Kanu and did that to Eastern Security Network, why can't you do it to Fulani herdsmen? Yesterday, I was listening in this medium, and I was told that 15 of our kidnapped children in Kaduna were released, remaining 68. Can you imagine, for months? Take it, Chamberlain. If this was one of your own son or daughter, well, and I'm sure the way these people behave, they have raped those girls, small girls that were coming out of school. This is the pace we have. So they leave the main thing and begin to chase shadows. Where is one militia owned by Ortom that have been arrested? The livestock guard are a creation of the law of Benue State prohibiting open grazing. And they have a dual responsibility to protect herders. If you ranch your cattle here and anybody comes to Russell, the person will be arrested by this livestock guard and in collaboration with the security agencies, and the person will be prosecuted. And if you bring open grazing in Benue State, you'll be arrested and prosecuted. And that is what we're doing. We believe in the rule of law. I don't believe in lawlessness. I believe in the rule of law. So there is no single militia group that is sponsored by me. Even talks in the state, they used to be exist. Even when you go to build a house, they will come after you. Come to Benue State now. Anything you want to do here, develop, nothing will happen to you. So it is a lie from the presidency to try to change the narrative and to turn away the actual thing that is happening away from the people.
Why do they accuse you and some politicians in Benue of associating with Ghana, as it were?
Ghana, when I came in 2015, I made it public. It was in the State Security Council that we decided to grant amnesty to Ghana. And that was granted. He returned some weapons. And several of them, him alone, returned over 78 rifles. Ghana alone, and several other criminals brought weapons. We accepted this and supported them. I even provided means of livelihood to him and his cause. This was going on. But very soon we discovered that he was using the opportunity we granted to him and committing crimes. So we revoked the amnesty that we granted to him. What else would I have done? When I came in, I said that we're going to use stick and carrot approach. The carrot approach was to grant amnesty, which was approved by my Benue State Security Council. And this we carried out. But as soon as we discovered that he was going contrary to the provisions of the amnesty we granted to him, we decided to revoke it. And then he went into hiding. And I gave active support. Asked the Abakari group, asked the DSS group, asked the army, asked all the security agencies, the civil defense and all that. I actively supported them to apprehend Ghana, and that was what was going on. I never played around with him. I don't condone. I told you I'm a born-again Christian, and I know that even the things that I do, if I cannot account to the people that I represent, God will also ask me one day, Ortom, what did you do? So it is not about the people, but it is about my faith before God Almighty on my last day and on the judgment seat that I do. So I have no single talk. I have no single militia. You can come and ask them. In 2015, no militia, no talk made me governor. In 2019, no militia, no talk. But the people of Benue State. So I work with them, and periodically I have stakeholders meeting with them. Like I'm going to have another one on Monday on the privatization matter that so many people are using to blackmail me and so on. And we'll discuss a number of issues, including security matters that concerns us, because I remain a democratically elected governor of Benue State, and I listen to what my people want, and I work with them. So it is cheap blackmail from the presidency to divert attention so that they can do their jihadist and Fulanization agenda of this country. I want
please squeeze this in. Your Excellency, if we could just squeeze this in as we wind down in about a minute. Recall the judgment about the collection of VAT, saying that states are entitled to collect VAT and not the FIRS. We've seen Rivers State especially following suit by signing into law a bill that says, well, they are entitled to collect that. What is your state doing regarding that? Because I know that revenue generation is a big deal for states now.
Thank you very much. I think that I'm someone who believes in the rule of law and due process. Whatever the court says, we'll work with it. Whatever, if we're not satisfied, we can also go to court. We have the liberty to go to court, but we must respect the laws of the land. Anything that will make us not respect and obey the laws of our land, we are heading to lawlessness. And when there is lawlessness, there will be anarchy. So I have no issue with that. I understand that the Federal Inland Revenue have launched an appeal. If at the end that comes, but as for now, my Benue State Executive Council is looking at the implication and what we need to do as far as we're concerned. But I tell you, the ultimate will be that we respect the laws of our land.
All right, then we do thank you very much indeed for talking to us today, His Excellency Samuel Ortom, Governor of Benue State.
Thank you very much.